Hello guys, welcome to this video. My name is Dave Adams. I'm going to introduce my basic CSS framework that I spent the last 7 or 8 months creating. I feel like I can finally release it for public use, and I'm just going to introduce and briefly walk you through the website. Upon first opening the website, you're going to be greeted with this web page, which is a simple interface. We have the logo, the docs page, my link to my GitHub profile that I haven't activated yet. And then I'm going to make an in-depth video to really go into how to use bcss, even though it's very simple. So I'm going to activate a link when you click this YouTube button. And then also this button is going to link you to the docs page. Now going into the docs page, we are greeted with this simple interface. I'm going to make a basic structure of the framework available so that it's ready to go anytime you need to use it. And these I've already talked about. We have our navigation. The basic utilities that I dealt with within this framework are fonts, borders, width, height, margin, padding, color, and media queries, which I'll go in depth in the next video about the bcss framework. I also created components, which are the form, table, and alert. Now for the fonts, first off, let me talk about the structure. Basically, each class represents something within the utility, and I've tried to display what they actually represent. So this tiny fonts class will actually give you this font size. So I've displayed all the classes and how and what they apply to the elements that you're going to apply with. I've also provided a sample code that you can use to generate this effect. So if you want a font size like this one, you just go with a paragraph and give it a class of tiny font, and you're going to get a font size that is as small as this. I also dealt with font weight and the font, still under fonts, which is basically how thick or thin the font is. And I provided a sample code. We have the font align or the text align, which is basically how you want to align your text. If you wanted to start from the left, center, or right, I've provided the classes and their various effects. I've also provided a sample code that you can use right away. Now, when it comes to border, I dealt with the border width, which is the thickness of the border. If you don't need a border, you just go with border none, which will set the border width to 0. We have the thin, which is about 1 px, and then we have the thick border, and then we have the sample code right there, which you can just highlight and copy. Now we have the side. Maybe you want the element to have a border, but you don't want it to have a border just for the left side. You go with the border left none class, which will eliminate the border on the left side. And I have that for all the sides. I also have the width utility. So for the width utility, I have two variants, which are the percentage and the pixels. I've listed all of them, and then there are various effects. So you can see that the 100%, a width of 100% covers the whole length of this, and it reduces as it goes down. I also created pixels, which are up to 40. So each unit represents 10 pixels. I made this framework for beginners to build upon. So it doesn't end here. You can definitely add your own or extend these classes to suit your needs. The same concept for the height, 100% to 10%. And this is how it will be applied. Also the sample code, 40 pixels in height to 10 pixels. And then the margin. So I have margin for the top, right, bottom, and left. I also have for the y-axis, which is the top and bottom, and the x-axis. Basically, the margin is represented and the space between the elements, this card right here and the arrow. So you can see that that space reduces as the units also reduce. Now, padding has the same concept. In this case, the padding is represented in the space between the arrow and then the top of the element, and it reduces as you go down. So I have padding for top, right, bottom, and left, y-axis, x-axis. Now to color, I tagged two points with the color. So we have the font color and the background color. I basically represented some font colors and the RGB colors. For the font colors, I made 3 variants of the RGB colors. So we have a normal red, light red, and a deep red. Same for the green and blue. And also I have the white and black text, which you can see here, and a sample code. I also did background. For the background, I just made 2 variants of the RGB. So light red, light green, deep green, light blue, deep blue. And the media query, which I'm going to go in depth in the next video. So for the components, I created 2, which I felt are necessary, which are the form and the table. The form, this is the basic form template that I made, and this is the sample code which will generate this exact form for you. Now for the table, I have 2 variants, which are the normal table with a blue header and then a white body throughout with the sample code right here, and also the striped table, which is a striped variant of the table with every other row being colored. That one also has a sample code here. Finally, I created an alert component, which is a JavaScript component. Now, when you click this button, the alert pops up, which I did through JavaScript. All you need is the ID of alert, and then you can apply any background color that you want, and the font color as well. So you have the background deep green and a font white, which you can see is applied here. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, and share. I'll definitely make a follow-up video on this, which will be practical and show how exactly you can use all these resources.